How you doing, guys? This is Guan Yu 007, also known as Mr. Misogyny, because women's knees need to be massaged. How are you guys doing today? I am doing stew-fucking-pendous, guys. I finished Dark Souls 3, and I'm actually on another playthrough, except I'm not using the same character. I actually did do a new game plus character, but I went ahead and started playing as a pyromancer, and I am liking it. Anyway, so what we're going to do here is I'm here to review the Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls, Soulsborne, whatever you want to call this game, because there are tons and tons of lore of the Souls game in here. One, I am not a fan of the Dark Souls series per se, but playing Dark Souls 3 made me want to go and pick up 2 and see what that was like, since I went to a mom and pop shop and got 2 for like $10. So I probably will review that later on. But we're not here to talk about that. What we're here to talk about is Dark Souls 3, which is the last in its series, which seems to have a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of content leading up to their, excuse me, not leading up, but harkening back to their original game, which was Demon Souls itself. And to start this off, I would like to say thank you, FromSoftware, because I didn't really like Dark Souls 1. A lot of problems with Dark Souls 1. I didn't like the matchmaking that was so random. I heard they fixed that. I didn't like a lot of it just tossed you in. You didn't really have a bearings. You didn't have any bearings to what the fuck you were doing. Dark Souls 3 fixes all of those problems. To me, I like having a central hub, and not a lot of people like that. I don't understand that per se, why you didn't like having a central hub, but I loved having a hub like the Nexus. And to me, that was one of the things I have to say was a selling point for me in this game as well, was I have a central point where I can go, recoup, think about what I want to do. The central hub that they gave you is so peaceful, so serene. You have everything you need. You have your blacksmith. You have your seller of wares that you might need, consumables as well. Not only that, but all the people that you encounter, and if you haven't played this game, I guess this will be spoiler alerts, all the people that you have encountered within the game that you have quote-unquote saved or have went ahead and picked up during your playthrough of the game to say, hey, I need some help in, say, sorceries. Yo, come to my house over here, start teaching me sorceries, and you basically will be protected. Something that I myself liked within this game, that I also liked within Demon Souls itself. The second thing I like about this is the fluidity of the game itself. It's Bloodborne-esque. That's why I guess a lot of people are referring to all of it as Soulsborne, I guess. But it's very fast-paced. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down into categories of what my general opinion is of this game. Of course, you know this is just an opinion, my opinion, and if you don't like my opinion, you can go ahead and stop the video at any time. Okay? So my first category will be for graphics. Now, as coming from Demon Souls to Dark Souls to seeing Dark Souls 1 and 2 videos, again, I didn't like Dark Souls 1, so I didn't really invest in it heavily. I did play it, and it just wasn't for me. I just didn't, a lot of the elements that were in it turned me off. But seeing 2, which I actually picked up the new version of 2, which is Scholar of the First Sin. I have that on disc, and I might be playing that. I might not review that, though. because it's already been reviewed. I'm not sure if there's a remastered review for it. If there isn't, then I might just review it, but that'll be for another video. So as graphics go, I am in love with this game. It is gorgeous for the new consoles. If you have a PC, I'm not talking about you. Go fuck off. If you have an Xbox One and a PS4, this is gorgeous. This is leaps and bounds above both 2 and 1. So it is I mean, the fog, I love the fog. I love the God rays. I love the lighting. I love being able to see all of my objective from a mountainside. I love that. And this is very weird. So for some reason, because I always notice this, and it's weird, but for some reason within the videos that I've saw and playing Demon Souls and parts of Dark Souls 1, you were always going up, right? You're always going like up an area to go up a map, and you didn't really get to see where your next objectives were. In this game, you're going the reverse. You're actually going down, and your objective is actually down from the castle to the other areas and then going back. So I noticed that, and that was kind of weird, but I've seen like how that works out in this game, and it's like I said, it's beautiful. The mountains are breathtaking. The clouds are breathtaking. Everything you're looking at is just so good, so beautiful. If you're a graphics whore on console, which I don't understand why you would be, but if you are and you do love the graphics of certain games like Bloodborne, you will not be disappointed with this game. Alright, next we're going to go with sound quality, and sound quality is, I don't know how to rate sound quality between, let's say, a 1 to 5 sound quality type of deal. I would say sound quality would be at a 4. There are some instances in some areas where the sound of the game just conks out, and I'm not sure if this is something that can be fixed in the package or not. It probably can, but from what I see, like in certain areas, like in the catacombs or like in the profane capital, some of the sound just is not working properly. I can't put my finger on it per se, as if this is actually supposed to be in the game or not, but certain echoes of enemies that aren't there just kind of piss me off. This isn't Dying Light, and I think that we should have it as if, since this isn't Dying Light, why am I getting Dying Light type of glitches where it feels that, yo, this sound just shouldn't be here if I killed all the enemies around me? You get what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird. So aside from that, which that's the only reason why I'm taking the 1 point out of the 1 through 5, the rest of the sound is pretty nice. I mean, weapons clang, different clangs of weapons, from great swords to great axes to regular swords to katanas to the actual parry feature. It's all there. All the sound, all the other parts of the sound is on point, especially initiating your superpowers. Say if you have a great axe or a club or whatnot, it's all there. Magic sounds awesome. Not going to be disappointed. Alright, now let's go to the third category, which is playability. And now I've already mentioned that it's as fast, if not just as fast, as Bloodborne. So your playability for this would count as into your hitboxes, the amounts of swings, and magic. Alright, so I had an earlier build beforehand, which was all magic. That was my goal beforehand, because we all know in the Souls games, magic is overpowered. Hell, in Bloodborne, the fucking overpoweredness of bullets for blood tinge was just fucking ridiculous, right? So I knew that per se this was going to be a thing that was going to just be super awesome, where your magic was just going to be bam, nothing but true magic warfare. That was not the case in the early part. The early part of this, before I guess they patched it in regulation, magic was just being completely outpaced by hand-to-hand, close combat, and sword play. So now they have fixed it with the new regulations patches, and I know I'm doing this as a review, and I have to go ahead and give them credit where credit is due. Magic is much more viable now in the 1.7 regulation, 1.07 regulation, where casters now are not limited to just the casting of your what am I trying to say? Your FP consumption. So your FP consumption is now saved simply because of this patch. However, beforehand, magic is powerful. The problem was your consumption of your fucking FP was just going down the tubes. You want to use a regular spell? Fuck you. You pay 15 FP for a regular spell. You know, it was weird like that. However, they balanced it out, and I've heard there are more balances coming into where magic will be able to be pulled out faster, where, you know, you won't be where when you telegraph your magic, it won't be a problem. I'm hoping that to be a good thing. However, if you're playing as a physical build, we're talking physical as in dex and strength build, you're not going to have a problem in this game. The only problem you're going to have is, of course, PvP hitbox and NAT code problems, which is weird as hell, but can be remedied if you know what you're looking for. So, all in all, playability 1 through 5 would be a 4. It's like I said, it's fast, it's fluid. It's just when it comes to PvP, certain balances need to be, or they have been addressed, but certain balances need to be more addressed than ever. For some odd reason, magic is slower. Magic can get faster if you apply yourself into dexterity, but that's just weird, applying dexterity to casting. Also, I kind of don't really understand the whole applying magic to stamina consumption. I don't understand that per se, but as a pyromancer now, it really doesn't truly affect me. I know exactly how to get around that. So let's say playability between 1 and 5 would be kind of a 3. There are some things that are just not really explained that you have to look up in Google and the wiki, and I kind of wish that games like this would explain more within their own game. That's just me. Now let's go on to the next section, which is, let's see, I've already did graphics, did sound, did playability. I would say the overall story arc and fun would be this section. Now, overall story, which we all know this is the third installment of the Dark Souls series, which means they're just carrying over from Dark Souls 1. 2, from what I understand, is in a completely another area. However, it was dealing with the same undead problem. In this story, I'm going to try to explain this, and if I get this wrong, please write in the comments that I got this shit wrong. You are undead, however, you are ash, which you are unkindled ash, meaning that your soul or your body was originally burnt in the kindling beforehand. But since all of this since all of this is becoming a problem right now of trying to sustain the fire, now it's becoming all of this is going down from the unkindled. So from the first story, it was trying to keep the fire going with the undead, which had dark souls, which were humans. Now you're an unkindled. So I don't know exactly if your soul is truly a dark soul, which is humanity, or you are of the regular souls, which were of Gwen from beforehand. That's not explained. However, during the story, the bell tolls, the Lords of Cinder are rising, which it looks like if these are some of the same places from the first game, time has passed. Like, time has really passed. We're probably talking thousands of years. A lot of people were making videos saying that, you know, time is being distorted. I don't think time is being distorted, and I don't think their theories are correct. I think what's happened is time has passed, has people have actually linked the fire, has extended the flame, and this is going into thousands of years in the future. So, as it is, thousands of years into, let's just put it like that, thousands of years into the future, the bell is tolling again because the fire is fading, which the unnatural cycle of light keeps fading simply because it needs to be fed some type of soul. And one, it was the soul of humanity. Now let's just say that the dark souls, or the souls of humanity, have finally wised up and got away from this area, and now what needs to be fed is not the souls of humanity, but the souls of light, or the souls of fire, that was the Witch of Izalith had, Nito had, and Gwen had. So with that being said, to feed the fire now, you need pure souls, or a soul of fire. Which would explain why, instead of saying like praise slaughtered, or you've won, or victory, when you beat an air of fire, it actually says air of fire. Also note that unlike in Dark Souls 2 or 1, you don't hollow. You actually just like burn out. I guess that's what would be the term for being unkindled. You would just burn out. Your fire would just burn out. And what you're looking for, unlike in the beginning where you were looking for humanity to restore your humanity, instead you're looking for embers just to light yourself on fire again. So a lot of weirdness is happening, and I think it's just the evolution of the souls itself. A lot of the unkindled are undead. They're just undead that don't hollow, unless you choose a choice, which I will not spoil that for you guys. Play the fucking game and you will understand what that choice is. But from what it looks like, what you have to do is you have to bring the Lords of Cinder back to sit on their thrones, and after that you have to go and face your true challenge. And then after the true challenge, of course, you would have, just like in every Souls game and Bloodborne, you would have the choice of what type of ending you want. So if it sounds like the story is kind of vague, that's because it kind of is. And it seems that the Dark Souls 3 is only trying to tie up loose ends of what happened in Dark Souls 1 and part of what happened in Dark Souls 2. What is not explained in Dark Souls 3 is, of course, the Black Souls, which was the Pygmy Souls, and I believe Dark Souls 2 kind of explains what happened at that point with them. So it's not being reaffirmed in Dark Souls 3. This basically is a story of the Souls of Light and what happened in their era, and what happened with the kindling of the Lords of Cinder and why that is there. There's a lot of lore that is being closed up, such as Artorias' faction of the Farron faction, which is now the Legion of the Undead. Read the items, you'll basically see why they're connected. And by the way, one of my favorite factions. Aside from that, that is it. Story, lore-wise, and fun. This game is a ton of fun, and I would recommend everyone buy it. Once you finish it, you'll still have things to do with it. Within it, you'll have builds you want to try out, stealth builds, magic builds, pyromancy builds, full miracle builds, hybrid builds, you name it. You'll have hybrids of strength and dexterity, pure strength builds, poise builds, which poise actually works differently between 2 and 3. It's got a ton of content in it already for what it is, which is just the ending and a say goodbye of the Souls series in general. So with that being said, for this review, that's not a review, I would have to say this is a pure buy, and if it's a 1 through 5 game, I would give it a solid 3.5. The reason why I would give it a solid 3.5, even though this is a buy, is because it still has the same problems it had in Demon Souls, which is certain hitboxes, certain hits that don't go through or register within PvP, certain sound problems that I noticed, and like I said, I play with headphones most of the time, and I can hear sound from either side. For some odd reason, mono sound is what they like using when they're just trying to hash out something, and when mono sound hits both sides of your headphones, it's kind of weird to me. Game mechanics itself, netcode, yeah, that's pretty much why I'm giving it a solid 3.5 if I give it a score at all. Aside from that, this is just my opinion, and of course my opinion is not Bible. You do not have to take my opinion seriously, but if it became a buy or no buy between this game, I would say definitely buy this game. Anyway, this is Guan Yu 007 signing out. This game is awesome. You should go and get this game now. Yeah, I guess that's all I can say about this. Anyway, this is Guan Yu 007 signing out. You guys have a good day. And cheers.
You switch between a bow and